That's gone right now on your nation station, DBS.
It's always a better choice. My one and only station.
DBS Radio. Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
Good evening and welcome to the DBS Evening News. In the headlines, Dominica hails Fidel Castro's lasting impact on healthcare and education in what will have been his 100th birthday this year. In news from the region, Denry South MP is confident that he will be re-elected. St. Lucians will go to the poll on December 1. And internationally, almost 280 people missing as huge fire engulfs Hong Kong flats with dozens confirmed dead. That's the headlines. I'm your presenter, Alian Christopher. The details of the news when we return.
Wow, a new laptop.
Yep.
How much you pay?
Only $10. This Christmas, sign up for any home bundle or the Turbo 400 internet plan or higher and get a laptop or tablet for only $10. And there's more. You can win even more festive prizes with our Christmas Spin the Wheel. That's faster, more reliable internet with same upload and download speeds and fantastic rewards. Sign up in-store today or visit online at discoverflow.co for more info. We keep your Christmas rhythm flowing.
DBS News.
Welcome back. The government of Dominica on Tuesday paid tribute to former president of the Republic of Cuba, Fidel Castro, who would have celebrated his 100th birthday this year. During a brief statement at Parliament, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit reflected on Castro's long-standing relationship with Dominica and the wider Caribbean, noting that Cuba's support has been instrumental in areas such as healthcare and education, among others.
We remember Fidel Castro for his extraordinary commitment to the liberation of so many peoples across the world in Africa and elsewhere. And his own contribution to humanity in healthcare, research and development, with pharmaceuticals in particular. There is really no country in the world who was not touched by his policies and his programs in a very meaningful way. And we in Dominica know all too well of his generosity and his contribution to our economic and social development. And we will always have fond memories of President Fidel Castro. And so we extend to his family and of course to the government and people of Cuba our appreciation, our respect, and our continued friendship.
That's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. The tribute concluded with a moment of silence in honor of Castro's life and the enduring partnership between Dominica and the Republic of Cuba. Parliament has approved the excise tax amendment for 2025. The measure formally reduces the excise tax on motor vehicles that are 10 years old or less from 28% down to 25%. Finance Minister Dr. Irving McIntyre says the tax cut is part of a broader effort to discourage the importation of older vehicles. He says government wants to encourage residents to bring in newer, more efficient vehicles and to consider purchasing used vehicles already available on the local market.
The population is encouraged to purchase newer vehicles with less than 10 years. What it does, Mr. Speaker, these vehicles will be functioning better. You, if an engineer in mind, would know that. And in terms of the carbon emissions, it would be much less. So we have more efficient vehicles, less carbon emission. We actually just less maintenance as well, so it's less cost to the owners of these vehicles. So from all points of view, Mr. Speaker, this is, and then also, I also mentioned in this resolution, the whole idea of purchasing vehicles locally. So, Mr. Speaker, from all points of view, this is an excellent resolution we brought before the House. And since both sides are in agreement, I think this is a great move in the right directions from an environment point of view, from a health point of view, from an accident and safety point of view, in terms of purchasing more vehicles locally, Mr. Speaker, this is a win-win for the Commonwealth of Dominica.
That is Finance Minister Dr. Irving McIntyre. Both sides of the House approved the resolution tabled on Tuesday. Government Senator Austell Lockhart is defending supplementary estimates of $108.5 million debated in Parliament on Tuesday. Lockhart says finances for the implementation of electoral reform and salary increase for police officers were highlighted in the supplementary estimates.
One noticeable expense is the $1,723,169.72 spent on the increased payments for police officers. This is significant to the men and women who work tirelessly for our protection. Mr. Speaker, oftentimes our officers are brutally criticized in the eye of the public when they take certain actions. But I often say, we do not like the police until we need the police. So, Mr. Speaker, every dollar spent on them to make them happy and comfortable, Mr. Speaker, is welcome. Another key expenditure is on electoral reform, where we saw $1,028,800 was spent to the supplier just for the software and the electoral photo IDs. I wish to emphasize that this amount represents the cost only for software and equipment. And by now, Dominicans should appreciate that the electoral reform process is a very extensive and very costly venture. However, the process has begun, voters have been confirmed, and the system is being modernized. I wish to thank the government for making all the financial support available to advance the modernization of the electoral process in the Commonwealth of Dominica.
And that's Government Senator Austell Lockhart. Opposition Senator Delbert Paris has questioned the decision of the Electoral Commission to stop continuous registration of voters. Senator Paris told Parliament on Tuesday the decision is a breach of Registration of Electors Act. The Electoral Commission said last week registration of voters was stopped as the Commission addresses some technical matters.
What is preventing the Electoral Commission from adhering to Section 17 of the newly passed Registration of Electors Act? And Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I would quote, "There shall be continuous registration of persons qualified under this Act to be registered as elect for 8 months. Since the law has been passed, registration has stopped. Continuous registration has stopped." The Electoral Commission put out a press release that doesn't give us any timelines, that doesn't give us any dates, and in my view, doesn't give adequate information for why continuous registration, according to Section 17 of the law, has stopped, or according to the press release, was paused. Under what law, what section of the law gives the Commission the authority to do that? What section of the law gives the Commission the authority to do that? Mr. Speaker, in the relevance of this, I'm saying they have the ability to ask and request assistance under the Act that they have. They can ask. The excuses that are being given is not adequate. And we have these processes to facilitate the independent Electoral Commission. Whether we agree with them or not, we have to respect their independence and promote it. But it does not prevent us from scrutinizing the decisions that they make, particularly if it affects people who want to enforce their right to be on the voters' register once they are eligible to do so, and when the time comes to participate in an electoral process.
Opposition Senator Delbert Paris. The Thibault Primary School under construction is to be named after former parliamentary representative Vernice Belloni. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit made the announcement in Parliament on Tuesday while debating supplementary estimates of $108.5 million. Mrs. Belloni is a former teacher, senator, and cultural personality.
The Thibault Primary School, that I have taken a decision and the support of the cabinet, that school will be named in honor of Vernice Belloni. So it will be the Vernice Belloni Primary School. And of course, in recognition of Mrs. Belloni's contribution to the country and to the Vickers community. And of course, we will speak more about this later down. Really appreciate the contribution. Somebody who stayed in the country all her life and working at the service of the people of Dominica. And I think it's appropriate that the country and the residents where I live recognize that service in a significant way.
That's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt. Opposition Senator Lorraine Henderson Reid has called for a full revamp of the National Employment Program, the NEP. She made the appeal during Tuesday's parliamentary debate on supplementary estimates totaling more than $108 million. Senator Henderson Reid said the government must take a closer look at the NEP, noting that workers who have already completed their training stages should be given clearer pathways for advancement and long-term employment.
It is unfair to have individuals on the NEP, still in the program, past the training stage, and working for private sector and the public sector as well under the NEP. But if the person has gained the skill, Mr. Speaker, and the proper training, employ the people. Employ them. Let them get benefits. Let them get insurance. Let them get the different things. So they can take their unsecured loans as well, Mr. Speaker. We have to encourage our young people, and how we encourage them is really helping them to do better in their lives. So having them under the NEP for years upon years, not bringing them into the careers and the fields and the trainings which they have gotten over the years, so they can benefit from your organization. That is unfair, Mr. Speaker. And I think if we revamp the NEP and we look at and we put a caveat, if we put everything in structure in place where you have the person in your employ, by that period, you have to decide. You want Mr. Speaker to work for you, or you want him to go bye-bye. At that point, Mr. Speaker working for you, and you know he's not gainful, he can take a loan. You take a loan, right? And then if the person doesn't have, let's say, for example, the person doesn't acquire the training and the skills, then something else, put them somewhere else. Have them there forever and a day under the same. It doesn't make sense, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think it is the right time to move to the next phase of the NEP, strategize and revamp this program. Fix it up. Provide job stability and job security for our young people. Let's recognize and reward the people who are contributors to this country.
Senator Lorraine Henderson Reid. Meantime, in response, Member of Parliament for Castle Bruce, Octavia Alfred, says a number of persons have already graduated from the National Employment Program, highlighting the ongoing progress within the initiative.
When we say graduated from the NEP, what we mean is that some of them have gotten into full-time employment in the public service, some of them have gotten into full-time employment in the private sector, some of them have begun their own businesses, and they have moved on. Because, Mr. Speaker, by me, I don't add people to my program. When other people move on, I fit in new people. So there is an exodus of people from the NEP. And in addition to that, in addition to gaining these skills, now you are not afraid as a young person when you hear 5 years experience, working experience when an advertisement go out. If you're under NEP, you brace yourself and you say, I have 5 years experience because of NEP.
Member of Parliament for Castle Bruce, Octavia Alfred. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has launched a rental housing survey which began on November 24th, 2025. According to a press release, the survey targets both landlords and tenants and is designed to gather critical data that will inform the establishment and operations of the forthcoming Tenancy and Rent Commission. In the 2024-2025 National Budget Address, the government committed to creating the Tenancy and Rent Commission as part of its pledge to strengthen the housing sector. The press release stated that the commission will play a central role in providing stronger protections for both landlords and tenants, preventing exploitation and ensuring access to safe, secure and affordable housing across the country. The release added that the information collected through this survey will help the Commission address key challenges within the rental housing market. These challenges include enhancing protections for both landlords and tenants, setting and enforcing housing standards, and promoting a fair, transparent, and equitable rental environment. That's it for the National Focus. Regional and international developments comes up next.
Wow, a new laptop.
Yep.
How much you pay?
Only $10. This Christmas, sign up for any home bundle or the Turbo 400 internet plan or higher and get a laptop or tablet for only $10. And there's more. You can win even more festive prizes with our Christmas Spin the Wheel. That's faster, more reliable internet with same upload and download speeds and fantastic rewards. Sign up in-store today or visit online at discoverflow.co for more info. We keep your Christmas rhythm flowing.
DBS News.
Welcome back in news from the region. We continue to monitor the general elections across the region. We place focus this evening on St. Lucia's upcoming elections, which is just 6 days away. Alfred Prosper, the Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Rural Development, and the St. Lucia Labour Party candidate for the Dennery South constituency, stated that the Labour Party has fulfilled its promises. He believes that the party is well positioned to be re-elected in the Dennery South constituency. St. Lucians will go to the polls on December 1st to elect a new government.
My constituency is in a very, very good place. We are very well prepared because I know the St. Lucia Labour Party, led by our Honorable Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, has done a lot. We've delivered a lot to the people of St. Lucia because our slogan being putting people first has proven that we have done a lot in education, in agriculture, in tourism, and the pensioners, just received $600 on their pay this month. Next month, we are going to give all public servants a $500 bonus. Among a number of things, including the completion of the main St. Jude Hospital project that has been in the making since 2011 or 2009 thereabout. We have done well. My machinery on the ground in Dennery South is well. We've delivered in Dennery South. The people are happy, and I do not see any negativity in terms of lack of preparation. And I know the Dennery seat will be returned to the St. Lucia Labour Party. Very, very confident. As I said, our party has delivered on its promises. I have delivered on my promises. In terms of my promises, only one project that I have not delivered in Dennery. The funds were there. The funds were made available, but we were unable to get it going because of changes we had to make to the designs and so on. That is the Dennery Fish Festival, that is Saturday fish activity. And as soon as we win on Monday, the 1st of December, we will be continuing to focus on that project.
St. Lucia Labour Party candidate for the Dennery South constituency, Alfred Prosper. And internationally, at least 36 people have been killed after a fire engulfed several buildings at a high-rise residential complex in Hong Kong. Hong Kong leader John Lee said another 279 people were reported missing. He said 29 people remained in hospital. About 900 people have been evacuated to temporary shelters after the blaze, Hong Kong's deadliest fire in years. It broke out at the Wang Fuk Court housing complex in the city's Tai Po district. 3 men have since been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. That's the news. I've been the presenter, Arlian Christopher. The sports report comes up next with Gavin Richards.
Covering the nation and beyond. DBS Sports Report.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Well, welcome to the DBS Evening Sports Report. Let's begin with news that the chairman of the Commonwealth Games Athletes Advisory Commission, Brendan Williams, has highlighted the Common Ground Mentorship Pilot Program as one of the success stories for the year. Well, his comments came at today's announcement that India will host the 2030 Commonwealth Games. The Games will be hosted in the Indian city of Ahmedabad. Williams, who addressed the launch of the 2030 Games in Glasgow, Scotland today, says that the mentorship pilot program has had a positive impact.
This year marked a significant step forward in athlete development through the launch of the Common Ground Mentorship Pilot, delivered across multiple regions with well over 30 mentors and mentees. The program paired current and former athletes in structured membership relationships and supported them through virtual workshops and one-to-one coaching. Feedback has been overwhelming, and the AAC is now working to scale the program in 2026, reaching more athletes, more CGs, and more pathways to success beyond the sport. Complementing this is the forthcoming Athlete Ambassador Program, currently being developed in collaboration with Commonwealth Sport colleagues. This initiative will launch with an initial cohort of 10 ambassadors, one from each home nation and 6 international representatives, selected for their leadership, values, and influence.
And that's the chairman of the Commonwealth Games Athletes Advisory Commission, Brendan Williams. Dominica, meantime, is set to participate in the 2026 Commonwealth Games, which will be held in Glasgow, Scotland. Thea Laffoe-Gadson had managed a silver medal for Dominica in the women's triple jump at the last Commonwealth Games held in Birmingham, England. In some more sports this evening, a spot in the finals of the regional Super 50 Overs tournament will be on the line tomorrow, with 3 teams vying for the final 2 spots as that competition heads into the final round of matches in the round-robin phase. The Barbados Pride, the Trinidad Red Force, and the Windward Islands Volcanoes are the top 3 teams heading into the final day of the tournament, which has been marred by rain. While the Pride are on top of the point standings with 29 points, Trinidad are second on 22, and the Windward Islands third on 17. The Windwards will play Jamaica in their final match tomorrow, but to advance to the finals, they will need the Leeward Islands to beat Trinidad comprehensively. While the Windward Islands head coach Kenroy Peters says while the weather has not been on their side so far this tournament, the team is in high spirits ahead of the clash with Jamaica.
Yeah, it has not been the best Super 50. All the teams have suffered because of the weather and also the venues that we've been using, where drainage seems to be a problem. And as we all know, around this time of the year in the Caribbean, it's when it tends to rain a lot more. But in saying that, we still have to go out and play, be positive. We have a game against Jamaica tomorrow, and the plans are quite simple. For us to make it in the finals, we have to win and accumulate as much bonus points as possible. And that's the plan really going into this game tomorrow. And worry about the things that we have control over and not worry too much about what we don't have control over. And that's the result in other games and also the weather. But our main focus is to go out and really give our best in every department and make sure that we capitalize and accumulate every point, every bonus point that is on offer.
And that's the Windward Islands head coach Kenroy Peters. Well, the Windwards will take on Jamaica in a day-night match starting at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Barbados will play Guyana at 9 o'clock, and Trinidad will face the Leeward Islands at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Let's stay with cricket news because the England under-19 team pulled off a hard-fought 2-wicket win over the West Indies under-19 as they've kept their youth ODI series alive in Grenada. The West Indies were looking to take an unbeatable lead in the 7-match series, but it was England coming out on top in the 5th ODI. The West Indies batted first and posted 276 for 9 in their 50 overs. Zachary Carter got 87. England replied with 277 for 8 in 49 overs. Ben Dawkins got 97 and Isaac Mohammed 74. We had Vita Lewis taking 3 for 42 for the West Indies. Well, the West Indies, despite the loss, they're still leading the series 3-2. Still in cricket news this evening, India's head coach Gautam Gambhir says the inexperience at the top of the batting order played a role in India's disaster of a showing in the second test against South Africa. India was sent crashing to their worst ever defeat in Test cricket, losing by 408 runs this morning. Gambaro says that quite a few of his batters there have less than 15 Test matches under their belt, and the inexperience showed.
Okay, you've got 4 or 5 players. I don't give excuses. I've never done that in the past. I will never do it in the future as well. But if you see 4 or 5 batters in this top 8 have played less than 15 Test matches. And they will grow. They're learning on the job. They're learning on the field. Test cricket is never easy when you're playing against a top quality side. So you've got to give them time as well. So for me, I think that is something they'll keep learning. Hopefully they keep learning. That is important. Because I know that I hate using this word transition. This is exactly what transition is. When you've got in Test cricket, when you've got your batting lineup, which is literally played less than 15-20 Test matches, they need time to absorb pressure. They need time to keep getting better against quality attacks and against quality sides.
And that's India's head coach, Gautam Gambhir. Kavem Hodge marked his return to West Indies colours with an unbeaten half-century, as the West Indies batsmen did well on the opening day of their their 2-day tour match against the New Zealand 11 last night. Hodge ended not out on 55 as the West Indies made a 346 for 5 on the opening day. Of course, John Campbell got 68 and Tejnarayan Chandapal 85 as the two shared a 130-run stand for the first wicket. Brandon King also got 79 and Alec Athanaze 23. Well, Tejnarayan Chandapal spoke with reporters after the day's play.
Yeah, obviously it's nice to spend some time in the middle and get a score, We just had a couple practice session and trying to get used to the conditions. Yeah, I would imagine coaches wanted the guys to spend some time in the middle, so a nice run out today. I'm sure the coaches got their plans in mind. Basically, I think the guys just trying to get a run out, bowl a few spells and get a feel. The pitch is, a bit different, got a bit more bounce in it. Just got to try and make most of the practice sessions and try and adapt as quickly as possible.
And that's the West Indies batsman Tejnarayan Chandapal. Well, the match resumed a few moments ago. Looks like the West Indies declared overnight, and the New Zealand 11 are currently batting. The scores are now 9 for 2. So the West Indies have managed 2 quick wickets so far. Anderson Phillip has 1 for 2 and Kema Roach 1 for 7. So that's the New Zealand 11 9 for 2. And of course the West Indies declaring overnight. Let's bring you some basketball news now, as the BAA Sharks and the Paybush Eagles will be hoping to take a commanding lead in their DABA Basketball Premier League finals tonight, as both teams get set for Game 3. Well, the 5-match series is level at a game apiece, with the Paybush Eagles having taken Game 2 last week. Game 3 is set for 9 o'clock tonight at the Massac Indoor Facility. There's also a women's match on at 7 o'clock with the Detroit Wings taking on the 767 Sports Club Gen Z. That game is set for 7 o'clock at the Massac Indoor Facility. Quick reminder that there's also football on tonight as well, with the start of the DFA Division 1 President Cup. Fonkole FC, they're down to battle Valley United. That game is set for 7 o'clock at the DFA Technical Center. And newcomer and overseas-based player on the senior women's national football team, Eden Lander, says she's excited with the opportunity to represent the country. Well, Lander, who is based in the United States, is among a number of overseas-based players called up to the national women's team as Dominica gets set for the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers this weekend. Well, Dominica has been placed in Group B with Jamaica, Guyana, Nicaragua, and Antigua. Dominica plays its first game against Jamaica on Saturday in St. Lucia at the Darren Sammy National Stadium.
Okay, so I grew up in Denver, Colorado. I was born and raised in Denver, and I've been playing soccer since I was 4. So it's always been kind of ingrained in me to always try my hardest. And so I got a scholarship from a D1 university in Virginia, Hampton University, and so I've been playing college soccer there. For this last year, I just started as a freshman, and I'm majoring in biology pre-med, so that's a little bit about me.
All right, so give me that reaction when you got that phone call that, hey, your services are needed to represent Dominica.
Of course, I was excited. As I said, growing up, soccer was my main passion and my main goal. And my biggest goal was to be on the women's national team here. So getting that call was really important to me. And it just made me realize that like all my efforts have like been worth something. And someone else can see the efforts that I've put in.
What position do you play?
I play midfield or striker.
All right. And in terms of what you want to bring to this national team?
I hope to bring a good attacking presence, but also like connect the back line and the front line, making sure that everything is working and we're all flowing as one team instead of like two separate parts.
Going to be meeting the girls basically for the first time, you know, how do you hope that you guys can sort of gel just about a week or a few days, I should say, to get ready for the first game?
I think just talking and communicating and them knowing that like I'm always here to help. I don't want to be like, I'm not trying to be like a foreigner that just comes in. Of course I want to help, and of course I want to see Dominica do good and represent our country properly. So I think just communication and also being open with each other.
And that's national women's player Eden Lander. Meantime, Lamaya Ford, who has been based in the United States on a college scholarship, says she's looking forward to the challenge. Ford says that the experience in the USA has been good.
It's been great. I've been learning a lot of new stuff, and I hope to come and show the work I've been putting in.
Coming up against Jamaica, the first game, and some other big teams in the group. So, you know, how excited are you to be part of this team? And, of course, what will be some of the big challenges for you in these upcoming games?
Well, I feel very confident in my team. I know most people think we're underdogs, but we are determined and we'll show the work we've been putting in.
Lamaya, just give me a little bit about the training that you would have been doing overseas. You know, what has been different overseas compared to home?
Well, it has been a lot different because every day is training, morning weights, in the afternoon, 2 hours of training every day. And yes, we still have to put school in between that. So it's been challenging, but I'm working.
All right, and with your experience on the team, of course, scored goals already at the national level, what will be your message to your teammates, you know, first to go out there and get the 3 points and the win?
Well, like I say, they think we're the underdog, but just keep pushing and we can do it. We can do it.
And that's the women's national player, Lamaya Ford. Well, head coach of the team, Ronnie Gustav, says that the team is in high spirits heading into the World Cup qualifiers. He says that the squad has been boosted with the foreign-based players.
Well, the team look impressive on paper, but right now we're about to do some work with the foreign players that just came in. So we'll look at our shape and our depth of how we're looking on the pitch.
Last time you spoke to me, you indicated a number of foreign-based players are here. What are some of the skills that the foreign-based players will be adding to the team that is already here, Ronnie?
Well, I believe because they're coming from a different environment than us, the professionalism, bringing into the team, the unity I believe will be much stronger. That seeing that they come from a different environment, it will blend in with our local players to make them be more assertive in what they're doing and to build their level of play as well.
And that's the head coach of the women's national football team, Ronnie Gustav, taking us to the end of the DBS Evening Sports Report. Just before we go, just a quick look again at the West Indies tour match with the New Zealand 11. Of course, New Zealand 11, 9-2 after 5.2 overs. Looks like there's a little break in play because of rain. And, of course, the New Zealand team, they're trailing the West Indies by some 337 runs with 8 wickets in hand. Of course, West Indies put on a very good performance with the bat, getting over 300 yesterday. All right, so that's the DBS Evening News. You heard the news with Ali and Christopher. I brought you the sports on behalf of the entire news and sports department. Our links person, DJ Halo Boy, Gavin Richards, saying good evening.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
DBS Radio gives you top quality service over any other for live streaming of funerals. Call us today at 448-3282.
Good evening and welcome to the evening edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 26th day of November 2025. We begin with this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Death Announcements.